Yes. Namaste, everyone.
Namaste, Vasant. So this is a
Yes.
DAF session, huh? So I take it that you would be asking us whatever help you need from us, right?
Yes.
So rather than me telling you, so tell us what doubts you have and what you'd like to ask.
Yes. Ma'am, I was participant in folk theater Dashavatar. So what sort of other questions I can get? Like I have made the factual questions regarding Dashavatar, even folk plays of other parts of India as well. But like other analytical questions, what sort of questions I can get for that?
See,
Okay.
one, of course, what
Name
is
the
the theme?
Dasavatars.
Huh.
You know the
Okay.
Dasavatars?
Yes. Yes.
Tell me. Tell me.
Okay.
Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Narasimha, Vaman, Parshuram, Ramakrishna, Buddha, and Kalki.
You made a mistake. You don't know the Dasavatars. You made one mistake. So, if you are claiming for another person doing that mistake, is no problem. Krishna is not an avatar as per the Hindu mythology. Okay?
Actually, there are two opinions on that. Krishna.
There is no question of beliefs. Madam, Dasavatar is already in the Hindu text written very clearly.
Different Purans give different things.
But the Puran doesn't give.
One gives something, something gives something.
Puran gives Krishna as an avatar. Krishna is the God himself as per the in Hindu philosophy. Incarnation is somebody who is a part of the God, not the entire God. That's why, if you see, the Krishna took birth, Krishna took avatar like this. Okay?
Well, anyway, I have a slightly different view on that.
You may
Because
have
Ram and Krishna both are incarnations.
The second question will be Buddha's role in Dasavatar. Buddha is incarnation. Okay? So when Buddha got into the Dasavatar, what are the arguments in favor? What are against it? Okay? Now, you are the student of anthropology. Dasavatar and the evolution. So if anybody who has studied Indology, anybody who has read Sanskrit texts in the book, he will be asking you these questions.
I have a different take on this. On Dashavatar, folk, I would take the folk part first. I would say that in practical application, how is a folk that you can use as a tool in administration and governance? It's a communication tool which is used very effectively. It's enter, educate, or infotainment approach, it's called. It's an actual communication tool. I would look at it that way. And where has it been used successfully in administration? It's been used in many places. So including in the Northeast, where music and football, anything that is entertaining and engaging the people using as an IEC tool, communication tool. So both sides of it. One is, of course, the obvious one, name of your folk, Dashavatar, and second was the folk part itself.
Anyway, you are aware of the Dasavatar Stotra?
Stotra, I am not aware, sir.
Who wrote it, you know that?
Sorry, sir.
In which book it is there, you should know that. It comes from Git Gobind.
Okay.
Jayadev's Git Gobind talks about the Dasavatar Stotra. He talks about Krishna and Radha, Han Vanjan and all these things. It starts with Dasavatar Stotra. Okay, he says Krishna is the complete Lord and rest are incarnation. Okay.
That's one aspect, Mr. Mahapatra.
Madam, there is no other Dasavatar Stotra. There's only one.
I hold a different view on this.
You can have a view. I'm talking about the text.
No, I'm also talking from texts. I'm talking from the Purans. Ram and Krishna are both incarnations. So it's your call. I thought I'll just clarify that.
Ma'am, one thing in this is like in North Indian traditions, there is Buddha as a ninth avatar, and in South India, like apart from Buddha, there is Balarama as well. I think there are two traditions.
Okay, let me explain you that also. There is no contradiction there also. Balaram, see, when the North India, they say Buddha is avatar, they also say Balaram is avatar. Balaram and Buddha these contradictions are being created today in certain sociological group, political groups. If you read the Dasavatar Stotra, both Balram and Buddha both are avatars. Okay, you read of the text you will come to know.
Yes.
Buddha is avatar also in South India. You go to any South Indian temple, Gita Govind is being played there, recited there. In any Sankalp mantra, any North Indian or South India, before he does a religious practice, he will be doing a Sankalp. Pandit will make a Sankalp. Listen carefully to the Sankalp. There will be a word like Bharatavasse, Jambudvipe, such and such nagare. Then they will say Buddha Avatare. The period post Buddha Avatar. So normal person saying this, there is no problem really, because people practice religion differently. Everybody is not supposed to read Hindu text or something. But if you say that you are knowing the avatars, you can say this is the thing. Practice could be different. That you can say.
I think we can move on from Dasavatar now. There are other aspects to your DAF also, which you may like to ask us. What are those?
Like in the startups, like in some mocks, I get like very deep questions on the startup terminology. Like I was the part of competition, but I'm not for like exact
You will
entrepreneur in
100%
the
get on
startup.
startups. 100% you will get.
Yes.
Because that's really important. That's an important policy plank. Startups is, in fact, recently Amitabh Kant, his book has just been launched day before yesterday on that. And you must know what is the scheme for startups, what are the sectors where startups are there, how many startups, analysis on how they are doing, what are the issues involved. These you should definitely know, because just taking part in a competition is not just taking part. It is expected that you will have a depth of knowledge in that, and that competition would be a seeding for further work. And moreover, it is also important for India today. So that is something you must invest in time. When is your interview?
17th May.
Okay, Wednesday, huh?
Huh.
So this is definitely, if you've been asked, you will be asked these questions.
Yes. I have prepared all sort of analytical questions like
Very good. Data.
After. Yes.
Which industries are there? Which ones, which sectors do you feel are untapped, which can still be used for startups? Things like that.
Ma'am,
Okay.
I have one question. Generally, I get questions like why Central India or Northeast India or the Himalayan regions is untapped in the startups. But when we see the startup industry, they choose a location mostly urban, wherein the consumers are more and wherein the laws or legislations are very easy, like Bengaluru, Gurugram, or Pune, Mumbai, such kind of things. So, how to tap the regions which are unaddressed by the industries so far, be it Bihar, UP, or Central India?
See, my take would be that first of all, there are certain, what are the elements that are required for a startup? See, one is, of course, everybody wants to take easy ground. But what are to your mind, what are the essential elements in a startup? What are the essential elements?
Firstly, the market should be there. And secondly, establishment of startup should be easy for that. Like regulations, laws, or compliances should be easy. Secondly, transportation network and logistics. If that is B2C startup, wherein the consumer reach should be easy. For example, the Gurugram model, wherein there is a like gradual shift from Bengaluru to Gurugram just because the logistic chain is well established from the Gurugram
But you forget one thing, you forget technology. Technology straddles geography now. Information technology, you don't physically have to be present anywhere. I mean, so long as the infrastructure for technology is there, the net is working, etc., people are working out of homes everywhere now. I mean, if you're working out of home in Gurugram or you're working out of home in Varanasi, it should be the same thing. Secondly is the skill sets. People preferring to stay in certain places. It's not as if somebody situated in Balia cannot do it, but people prefer to stay. Somebody who's educated after a point or something, they like to stay in Gurugram, or they like to stay in Noida, or they like to stay in Bangalore, or whatever big city. But this is what I can think of right away. I'm sure Mr. Mahapatra will have lots to add to that.
Not better, but you covered mostly.
No, please add.
Please
add to this one.
Basically, ease of doing business. You said this in a different way. See, I do a startup. Okay. Now, for a startup, the costs are very important. A bigger company can absorb losses. It can afford to go on losses for some time in the anticipation of profit and so on. The absorbing power of startups are less. So wherever the ease of doing business is easier, not only logistics, but also getting government clearances, access to the market, resourcing raw material, sourcing raw material, etc. The startup will win. The second thing, what kind of encouraging atmosphere that you have. If you are doing a business, you are a startup, you don't have much of experience. But why people do things in an incubator? In the educational institution incubator, people do that. Because there is an atmosphere which is encouraging in nature. So people will like to do the best food or work there. You spoke about the market. The market is there. You have to create a niche market. You are coming with the innovative product. Startups basically deal with innovative products and in this market. So how good idea that you have? You have to create a market. Only then people will come to fund you. Okay. Now there are advantages in places like Gurgaon, etc. because the synergies of other things are happening together. But there's no region why it cannot happen elsewhere. Because the world is getting flat. So these are the things, ma'am, I could speak of, think of. If you have to add anything else.
Also, there is a certain training in thinking. For example, I mean, there is somebody I know who's doing a startup. What are they doing? From start to finish in the real estate industry. I want to sell a house, or he helps me in selling the house. I need to know where to invest the money. He knows, he's helping me in that. I need to buy a new place or rent a new place. He's helping me in that. So basically, they're looking at the client. What does the client want? The client wants ease. So these kind of opportunities also may be there in a certain place, may not be there in a certain place. We're just putting before you all the pros and cons. You can structure them your own way. Okay.
Yes.
You belong to Sindhudurg.
Yes.
There will be questions on Sindhudurg. History, geography, everything. Fully aware?
Yes.
Finolex you worked in. So what is so special about Finolex? Pioneers in what?
Yeah, it has a piping and plumbing equipments they make, and even they make the coal energy, and it supply.
Telecom. Telecom. They were the first. Weren't they the cable chaps?
Cables.
That's their strength. So they were pioneers.
They're decades. They're there for 40.
So then that may lead to other questions about optic fiber, etc., etc. You're also a mechanical engineer.
It could be the cable between say UAE and India. It could go to anything. Once it comes to cable, linking
so
the
basically, things can go in that line if there's somebody of that.
Finolex also did power cables, distribution cables.
Electricity, absolutely. Power, telecom, both did it.
Madam, he had, olive little turtle and many things here.
I was just coming to that. In fact, I was linking it to plugging. So you have put plugging, which you will 100% get asked. Some people do put it, but not that many. So you know who started it, of course. Who did?
Yes.
Who did?
Erik Almstrom in Sweden.
All right. So very good. So that now you're building a profile which is very much a profile for an an outdoor person and an environment person, right? So that comes to Mr. Mahapatra's question, that is linking it with the olive ridley turtle, right? So there, I guess you know all about that. Again, this is Orissa.
But I'm not Orissa because what I'm afraid, it will not finish only with conservation.
No, I'm going further. I was just flagging. Okay, maybe I'll say my point and pass it over to you. So one is, of course, the olive little that you put up there. Second, it can go on to environmental threats or projects like Great Nicobar project. I hope you know about it.
Yes.
Which turtle species is endangered because of that? The nesting sites.
Leatherback turtle.
So you know about it. You know the elements. You know the cost of the Great Nicobar project?
72,000 crore.
So you're fully aware of it. Townships and all that stuff. And you know the status where it is. Environment clearance has been given, and then what happened? So then it will go to that. Then it can also go to your green hydrogen. green hydrogen mission, future issues. What is the key issue in the mission? The demand that has been projected for electrolyzers, the total global production is also not enough for that. Apart from other issues of storage and cost, etc., etc. There are lots of, the green hydrogen. Then it can also go to your COPs, target, strategy, our commitments, etc., etc. I'm not getting into the details of that. I assume that you have prepared. These are what I can think of in the environment line. Mr. Mahapatra, you might like to add.
You said it very rightly. To go to climate change, COP, environment, totally. Now, somebody may ask about the olive ridley turtle nesting site in Orissa. And it so happens that our missile testing range is next door. You know the name of the island? Abdul Kalam Island.
Which, sir?
Abdul Kalam Island.
Okay.
Where your Agni missiles are being tested. It is next door to this nesting site. So if somehow somebody asks there, maybe it may divert from environment, COP, from that side to India's missile program also. So conservation, because Dasavatar again is linked to this, conservation and everything. So somehow your olive ridley turtle, conservation, Dasavatar, and all these things will result into a lot of questions in environment, SDG, COP21, Paris Agreement, green hydrogen, net zero, maybe the missile programs.
Yes.
They're all linked.
Yes.
How the question answer will go, who will be the member, a lot will depend on that.
Yes. So one more question on this olive ridley. Like in one mock, I got a question like coastal erosion is happening. So what can be done for that? But apart from sea walls or the tetrahedral structure,
mangroves. Mangrove floating. See, one of the regions that Orissa, the site is being maintained is the mangrove forests. Introductions of the crocodiles in the region, the predators, so human intervention is less. And now that the missiles are being tested, the poachers can't get in. So mangrove forests are the best way you prevent the coastal erosions.
So what's the role of crocodiles?
Crocodile is a predator. Crocodile will eat one deer or something if he's hungry. For the next 10 days, you will not eat. Human beings will go for the gaming. They will
Crocodiles are part of the food chain.
Food chain. Wherever there is a predator, the moment we remove the tiger, our jungles were destroyed. So wherever there is a jungle, there has to be a very higher predator.
Yes.
So you have to see that side. One side, there is no jungle. The other side, there is jungle. Because the river cannot be crossed. The estuaries cannot be crossed.
Yes.
Okay. So meditation, you have written a lot of things. So there could be questions on meditation. Okay. Including World Meditation Day. When is World Meditation Day?
Now, pardon, sir?
When is World Meditation Day?
Not aware of the date. I'll see it.
May 21st. So meditation, yoga, ayush, that would be questions.
Okay.
You are getting meditations.
Also, current affairs, you are reading the newspapers. 2 Supreme Court rulings today, important ones. One on Delhi, one on Maharashtra.
Yes.
Pakistan developments. Then Manipur, Kuki, Maiti. Whatever else between now and then, also the NHRC taking calls with the World Wrestling Federation issues that are happening, sexual harassment. So please go to the core of the matter, prepare these points, right?
Yes. Yes.
I think, is there anything else you want to ask?
On the mental health, I have prepared like drug issue, suicide issue, as well as the addiction issue, like all sort of analytical issues on the mental health. Like these may lead to like these are all sort of drug or addiction or something are linked with the mental health somehow. So I have prepared them, but apart from that, what kind of questions I can get from mental health?
Have you got something in your DAF for mental health?
Yes, yes.
What is it? I missed it.
I was a student mentor for mental health in our college.
I think it's enough.
They will ask you, what is government doing about mental health? Heard of SDG 3?
Pardon, sir?
SDG 3, Sustainable Development Goal number 3. Health for all. There is
Yes,
a big march in the earlier health policy under the Millennium Development Goal and the Sustainable Development Goal. The Millennium Development Goal up to 2015 was mostly concentrating on child and maternal health, communicable diseases, vaccination and things like that. Now there's a big emphasis on non-communicable diseases, including mental health, blood pressure, your blood sugar,
diabetes, cardiac.
So a lot of investment is taking place by government. A lot of action plans are being made to achieve the 2030 goal on combating the non-communicable diseases, including the mental health. So you must read up SDG 3.
There's also the Act. Mental Health Act.
Mental Health Act, yes. It decriminalizes suicide and focus on the rehabilitation of suicide victims.
When you're talking of rehabilitation, there is also of decriminalization, there is also the issue of the gay
marriages.
Gay marriages. The whole issue is very live just now, Supreme Court, government, etc., etc. Because is it a sickness? Is it a sexual preference? What is it? Because different shades of opinion are there. Because 377 decriminalized. Now they're asking for civil rights.
Yes.
Marriage, adoption, etc., etc.
Yes. Yes.
That is another live issue which is getting tossed around.
Yes.
Incidentally, in that, Supreme Court interestingly says, how can we ask the government to make legislation? Whereas in the election commissioner's issue, they have said that they have to make legislation, but that's okay. It varies from case to case.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else?
One thing I would like to ask you. Because this year there is a lot of candidate interview with anthropology as a subject. So interview board must have interviewed a lot of people with anthropology also. Yours is also anthropology. So how prepared you are for few questions on anthropology, though this is not going to be, interview is not meant to be a test of your knowledge. But a few questions on anthropology. Could I ask you one?
Yes, sir.
Who is the Vice Chancellor of Indian National Confederation of Academy of Anthropologists? Vice Chancellor of Indian National Confederation and Academy of Anthropologists. Name the person.
Sorry, sir, I am not aware.
And he was in news, I think, yesterday in newspapers.
Okay.
So he got another appointment. He was nominated as chairman of the National Monument Authority. Somebody from the anthropological background, he became the chairperson of the National Monument Authority. So it's not that news you should be knowing. Basically, newspapers, anything coming out, anything to do with your subject, be a little extra alert on that.
Not knowledge for knowledge's sake, but if something is in the domain of current affairs, you should know.
Particularly your DAF, related to a DAF particularly.
Yes.
I think we can now bring this to a close. Is there anything else left, Vasant?
Yes, almost covered everything. Ma'am, just one doubt, like during like conservation or environmental question I get, I am more tilt towards environment rather than development. So will I sound like anti-development person?
Not at all. Not at all. Keep a little bit of a balance, but it is perfectly fine.
Like we should consider environment first, and development should be not at the cost of environment, but like such kind of.
Like for example, the Great Nicobar.
What is sustainable development?
That is what is talked about, Great Nicobar. You can say yes on security considerations, yes, but you don't need to do as much as you are doing.
Hmm.
I mean, they're going to populate it with 6.5 lakh people.
Hmm.
So
Township project.
as of now, it is only, I think, what, some thousands, 4,800, 5,000, something like that. So there's no harm in that.
Hmm.
Ultimately, yes, it has to be sustainable. In the long run, we're all
Yes.
dead.
Yes.
Okay, Vasant, all the very best then.
Yes. Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much.
You'll do very well.
Bye-bye. Yes.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vasant. All the best.
Thank you so much, sir.
Come saying.